Thank you, Lindsay. Everyone, this is Tracy Fontenot. I'm the marketing coordinator for TDA that manages the State Fair project, and we're so excited to have you all on the call today. This is the first time that we've done a Skype call to introduce our new store contractor, so we're very excited that you all were able to join us. I had sent out the agenda and the FAQs, the frequently asked questions, to everyone on the call. I hope everybody had a chance to look it over. On the agenda, the first order of business is to introduce our new store contractor. We have Candy and Lee of Nourish Market out of Houston. They're seated right here. You want to wave? Candy and Lee. So for those of you all who are on Skype who can see the video, here in the room, I'll let everyone do a brief introduction of themselves and what they do here at TDA. Rob, would you like to start?
Rob Barthen, Central Texas Regional Field Rep.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, sorry, can everyone put their phones on mute so we can hear what's going on here at TDA? We'll try to speak up as well when we're introducing ourselves right now.
Can you mute by *6?
Yes, go ahead. No, I'm not logged into the...
Okay.
Hi, I'm Carissa Icaro, and I'm an accounting intern here for TBD.
I'm Emily Miller, and I'm a marketing intern here.
Daryl Dean, field rep in the Dallas area.
Karen Reichek, administrator for our Trade and Business Development Division.
Lindsay Bearwald, team lead for Go TEXAN.
Candy Montano, manager at Nourish Market.
Lee Garcia at Nourish Market.
Tracy Fontenot, marketing coordinator for State Fair.
Alicia Sunderledge, program specialist for Go TEXAN.
Debbie Wall, funding coordinator for marketing and international trade.
I'm Max Hernandez. I'm a purchaser here at TDA.
So thank you everybody for joining us on the call and here in the meeting room. The topic of conversation today is the Go TEXAN General Store. For those of you all on the call who have participated with us before, thank you for your continued support. And for all of you all who are brand new vendors to the General Store, we're so excited to have you all join us this year. The timeline, I'm going to ask Candy and Lee to hit some of the more important dates. The timeline will be finalized and emailed out to everyone. It has important dates about when to ship your inventory and other date marks that we'll need to hit to make sure that we start on time. Lee, would you like to outline a few of the important dates?
Yes, thank you. In terms of starting with the current date, we will be receiving a members list and contacting our participants by the 1st of August. Then we will have the processing of barcodes if needed by members by August 15th. We will then move to arrange delivery of your member products, establishing any type of pickup dates for members and merchandising dates by the 31st of August. We are looking at building out the general store room, any shelving by the 15th of September for you, and then we will need to have all inventory received and checked in, all merchandising complete by September 24th. We will have operations of the general store between the preview day of September 26th and the end of the State Fair on October 20th. Following the closure of the State Fair, we have pickup and teardown of all inventory, which will be October 21st through Tuesday the 23rd, we're looking at. Potentially, we could extend that to the 25th if needed. And then all financial accounts and reports will be audited by TDA by November the 4th, and final checks will be cut the week after.
Excellent. Thank you, Lee. Those are the highlights of the timeline. The timeline, like I said, will be finalized by Lee and Candy with Nourish Market, and will be emailed out to everyone on or before the 12th of July. Does anyone on the call have a question about the timeline? You will receive a copy, but do any questions come to mind at this moment?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so we have to have a barcode on each of our packages, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you need barcodes created?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Lee or Candy, would you like to touch on that? That you will provide barcodes. The specifics of that situation are currently being worked out, and we will notify everyone on the process to obtain your barcodes. So,
Okay.
more information to follow.
Okay.
Thank you for that question. Anyone else a question about the timeline? No? Okay. The next point that we're covering is receiving and stocking logistics. As the folks who have been with us before and the new folks, the storage facilities at the pavilion are very limited. So we always want to keep that in mind. The shipping methods, the only one that does not make it to the pavilion is the United States Postal Service. Every other major carrier does make it to the pavilion, so the U.S. Post Office doesn't deliver, so please do not use it. If you have pallets being shipped, we ask that you use a lift gate carrier. If you cannot, please contact Nourish to try and make arrangements for how to ship your product if you cannot contract with the lift gate carrier. Daryl, do you have anything to add on receiving?
On the move-in process, we've mentioned traffic behind the pavilion. Ask that everyone parks in the same direction on the street side of the pavilion, is to keep the street clear.
Yes, that's an excellent point. When we do move in, those 2 weeks before the state fair opens, there is a lot of traffic and congestion, so please be patient with us at the pavilion and other folks who are moving back and forth to get to the state fair. Lee and Candy, did you have anything you wanted to mention about receiving and stocking at this time?
We will be arranging appointments for drop-off. If you feel that you will be merchandising your shelves or your merchandise, we will need appointments for you to accommodate space for you. And if you're using coolers or any big equipment to be brought in or your own shelving, we also need to know that.
Mm-hmm. So the more information we can exchange between the vendors in the store and Nourish Market, the smoother the process is going to go. So at this point, does anyone on the call have a question?
Can we get the contact information for Candace and Lee?
Yes, absolutely. The timeline will be finalized, and then they will send their contact information and then information on how to log into the vendor portal that every vendor in the store will be able to access and gain inventory and sales information.
Okay.
Thank you for that question. Anyone else?
I have one question, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I probably missed this, but we can actually physically bring our area. We don't have to ship it in, correct? Or do we?
That is correct. You are more than welcome to make arrangements with Nourish Market during setup as to when you can hand deliver your product. You can either ship it or deliver it yourself. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for
I
that.
have a question related.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I participated last year, and we're actually sampling every weekend throughout the fair this year, and delivery times for all during the week and early. I live in Austin, so making that extra trip from Austin to Dallas is kind of extra headache. Is there any kind of third-party that we can freight into that can fulfill the, the kind of weekly receivings into Nourish?
That's an excellent question. You mean like a holding company, possibly?
Yeah, well, so we sell a pickle smash or white pickle salt loaves, and so it's pretty heavy, right? So we can freight it into the area, but there's limited space back there in the actual general store area, so we can only stock, 7 or 8 cases of each of our, varieties, mild, medium, and hot. So we're looking for somewhere to kind of stage it in that area and then have it delivered during the delivery windows, which I assume will be similar to last year's.
Okay, I don't have an immediate answer for that, but we can definitely look into it and let every vendor who's in the store know if we come up with an answer or if we don't. But we will definitely get you an answer to that question.
And
okay, thank you.
Ed Lee?
My recommendation is if it's not being received by the state fair, you might want to consider renting a storage unit for those 6 weeks. Don't know if that helps out.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could, but then we would need the staff to actually get it from that storage unit over to the state fairgrounds there during the delivery date. So just trying to figure out options because that's going to be a logistical problem for us, being in Austin during the week and working and then being there in Dallas on the weekend.
We completely understand. We'll put our heads together and see what we can come up with, and if there's not an option, we'll definitely communicate that too. Does anyone else?
Excellent, thank you.
Do you
No,
want to
thank
shoot
you.
that question to the Texas State Fair email address, and that way we'll review it and brainstorm on it and get back with you.
Okay, sure thing.
Thank you for the question. Anyone else on the call have a question concerning receiving and stocking?
I have a question. Do you guys have any information for new vendors there, as far as like how many units approximately we should ship in?
Yes, we are compiling that information with Nourish this week, and when they send out the store policy and the timeline, that will also be included. That's an excellent question that a lot of people have.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Too. Thanks.
Anyone else have a question about receiving and stocking at this time?
I don't have a suggestion, or a question. Actually, I have a suggestion just based on what we just discussed, because I wasn't sure if you guys had something laid out. But if we could come up with some kind of off-site facility and have that managed either by Nourish or by another provider, that we could kind of stock excess stock in and then maybe have it moved during the week at an additional cost, that'd be something I'd be interested in, and maybe other members might be as well.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. This is Lee. We can look into that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Daryl, is there something that we need to touch on right now that for receiving and stocking? No?
It's covered.
Okay. Moving on to the FAQs, we sent a copy to everybody in the store. Hopefully everyone who's on the call has had a chance to review it. This is our first time meeting Nourish. We just met, 2 hours ago. Hopefully we haven't scared them off. But there will be some tweaks to the FAQs. So the set that you have is a work in process. The finalized copy will be sent out next week. There might be some changes that Nourish has to the FAQs to be more specific. So I'd like to ask everyone on the call if they had any particular questions about something listed in the FAQs.
Yeah, I have one.
Yes, sir.
Concerning the sampling, I understand that y'all have provided the health permit, but
yes.
typically in the past when I had done a show, I've got my own health permit, which is good. You're getting it. That saves me some money. But we also had to have health regulations like hand washing station and all that. is that going to hold true for your building as well, or?
We will provide a hand washing setup under each kiosk to comply with the health department requirements. So all you'll need to be.
So all that's going to be set up.
It'll all be there ready for you to go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course, and each sampling kiosk does have a health permit associated with it, but y'all will have to bring your supplies, such as the napkins or souffle cups, gloves, toothpicks, everything that you will need to sample, but we do provide the sanitation station, as we call it. So we do cover all health requirements that are related to sampling. And I'm glad you asked about sampling, sir, because for everyone on the call who's been with us before and is new to the program, we really encourage sampling. We've seen a direct correlation between sampling and an increase in sales. So if you haven't had the chance to look at the sampling application and see if that will work for you, we highly encourage folks to sample. We definitely understand the travel and cost involved in being at fair, but it is an opportunity for you all to get your product in people's mouths. And we're known as the Free Food Pavilion, so sampling and tasting is what we're all about.
Well, I don't consider it sampling. I consider it advertising and baiting.
I like it. Yes.
Is there restrictions on the samples themselves? How big, how small, how we pass them out?
Well, we have folks who run the gamut, if you will. We have a barbecue company that hands out like a flat, not as big as a popsicle stick, but not as small as a toothpick, and they take that wooden utensil and dip it in the barbecue sauce and hand it to the folks to sample. And then we've had folks go so far as to have a electric skillet, and they would be warming up sausage and sampling their barbecue sauce on the sausage. So you can go from one end to the other as far as sampling on size and how much you'd like to give away.
Okay, cool. So we can get as creative as we want. Okay, that answered that.
Well, I don't know about
so I have a question.
As you want, but
I have a question. This is my first time doing the show.
Yes.
And I didn't sign up for sampling. With all the stuff that's being said, do y'all still have slots for sampling that I could go in and sign up for?
Yes, ma'am, we sure do. Lindsay, you want to speak to that?
We only have 8 shifts that are completely full. So there are 24 days with 2 shifts each. So there's 40 shifts still left over that have space available for sign up. If you don't still have the email from when those shifts or those links went out, you can go to the GoTexan.org page, go to State Fair, and then there's a link under sampling that'll take you to the job form to sign up. So there's plenty of opportunities still available, free during the week except for Columbus Day, and then $45 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Columbus Day Monday per shift. So you'll get a confirmation email from me once you have signed up and paid. You'll get confirmed from me.
Those links to those forms are also available in that monthly newsletter that y'all should have all received.
Okay.
Can I add something about sampling?
A question about the samplings. How many kiosks will there be this year, and will all of them have power?
There are 10 this year. They're scattered throughout the pavilion, and in theory, they all have power. It's a historic building. It was built in 1936. So what we advise folks to do is that when they get there and choose their kiosk, to go ahead and test the power first before you set it. And then if the power is not working in that particular kiosk, we're happy to help you to move to one that does.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
Can I
Can I add a comment on sampling?
Yes.
I just, we've been there quite a few years, and the gentleman was asking about what type of things to sample. I would recommend to think about what you can sample the quickest, because if people have to wait in line, they're going to walk right past that person.
That is very true. So, for instance, in sampling, how many people would you estimate you see in about 2 hours on a busy day?
To me, unless a lot, like 500 to 600, maybe even more.
500 or 600 or even more. Yeah, we've heard estimates up to about 1,000 people in 2 hours. There are days where
I would agree with that.
Yeah, where the pavilion is very, very busy. So thank you for mentioning that. Are there any other questions on the FAQs or sampling or? No?
I don't know. No. I would like to go through a couple of them just to highlight a couple of points.
Please.
I know we've had several questions about sales tax permits. You do not need to submit. I'm going to let Alicia handle this one.
For the sales tax?
Yes.
So to be in the general store, you do not need to submit your sales and use tax permit because you should have technically already submitted that once you became a TEXAN member. So we have that on file for you if you are an official member, which to be in the store you have to be. We do require the food manufacturer's license if it is applicable to your edible product, and your product liability insurance with the Texas Department of Agriculture listed as the additional insured.
And what's the minimum on that?
I think the minimum, it was on the FAQ.
It's $1 million.
It's $1 million?
I think it's $1 million. And the dates have to cover the whole fair.
Yes, dates covering the whole fair.
You cannot sell your product at the sampling kiosks. We did offer a pop-up porch option this year.
Can everyone mute their lines, please? They're receiving a lot of feedback. Thank you.
We are still working through a few backlog to get a few scheduled for those pop-up porches, but essentially those are full. We are not accepting any more applications for that. We have a 48-hour cancellation notice for sampling. No exceptions. You must cancel your shift within 48 hours. Otherwise, there will be a late fee charged. If there's a emergency in the family or other issues come up, let us know as soon as possible. But within that 48 hours, we will be charging a late fee. So be aware of this. This is not just on the weekends. This is for the free shifts that are during the week. The point is, if we're not notified in time, we can't backfill it. So there are other people that may have wanted your spot, and we want that opportunity to pass those available shifts on to others. In regards to arriving for your sampling shift, it really depends on the day, but you need to plan on being there early. There are no guarantees of what traffic is going to be like. There's no guarantee how long it's going to take to get from the parking lot to the pavilion. If you're late for your shift or if you can't get parked, that's something you need to plan for and be prepared for. We will be sending out parking.
Let me ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, again, I'm new with this. So if we don't get a kiosk for sampling, can I bring I have a little roller cart that I use for sampling anyway. Can I bring a rolling cart?
No, ma'am, because we purchased the health permits and we have limited areas. Everything is sampled from the kiosk that we have set up. Nobody's allowed to bring in their own.
Okay. Okay.
We will be sending out parking information with parking directions, where to pick up passes at the will call booth. Maps will be included. That'll be going out right before fair, so if you don't get those, it's okay. It'll be going out right. Those instructions will come via email on the email address that we have on file. If any of your contact information changes during fair, you need to let us know as soon as possible. That includes your direct mailing address, where checks may be mailed to. That includes telephone numbers, phone numbers, same thing, email addresses. That's the other. We need to know if something changes. We need to be able to contact you without fail. Sampling kiosks are not assigned. They are made available on a first-come, first-served basis each day, at each shift. And if somebody has left their stuff at a kiosk, you cannot move it. They beat you to it.
And to that point, you can't move the kiosk either.
Correct.
Okay, I have a question on the kiosk.
Yes, sir.
If I signed up for every slot every day for the sampling, will I get to stay in that one kiosk the whole time?
Per day, it'll be a first come, first served per day.
But that's what I'm saying. If I signed up for every slot on every day.
Yeah, we still want to extend that.
So that day you can stay there. The kiosk you get at the 10 to 2 shift, or the 10 to 12 shift, you can keep at the 2 to 4 shift. But the next day, you're gonna have to get there, be the first to get there to get that kiosk again.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question along those same lines. So I understand we'll need to move out of the kiosk, but can we store any of our like sampling supplies or anything back there, kind of behind that curtain by the load-in doors, or do we need to pull it completely off-site?
Yeah, for those of you that are sampling each day, we'll have limited space, but we'll try to accommodate you on a case-by-case basis. But there should be some place to, if you're going to be there all day, to put your product up between shifts.
Sure, thank you.
But not from day to day.
But we won't want it to stay there day to day. It'll just be for the day that you're there.
And the way you...
So, I guess to that question, okay, so you just said that, so we have the 10 to 12 and then we have the 2 to 4. And so you're saying if we're there during the day, we can just keep at the same kiosk. So we get there early, load in, set up for 10. We can keep it there during the break. And then when the time window opens at 2 again, we'll be in the same spot. So my question is, I understand it has to be removed from the kiosk during the day. Do we also need to fully pull it off site? Because so say we're coming in for the whole weekends, right? And we have we're doing Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday night, do we need to do a full unload as far as like our cart, that everything's just in one cart, and then pull back in? Same thing.
You just have to get it out of the kiosk.
Not reserving the kiosk. Get it out of the building. Okay.
No, you don't have to get it out of the building. If you're going to be back the next morning, if you don't mind leaving it there overnight, we can find the space to keep it overnight for you to be back the next morning.
But we can't be responsible for your product.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah.
And the way you reserve the kiosk from the morning shift to the afternoon shift is that you leave your product or your sampling supplies in the kiosk in between shifts. We take all the signs down in between shifts. This is at your own risk. We do not take responsibility for anything that's left, but that's how people traditionally reserve the kiosk they had in the morning for that same afternoon. They have to be registered for that sampling slot, but that's how they do it. It's just, leave their product there, put the shelf behind the kiosk, put the stool behind the kiosk, and then folks will know that sampling kiosk is not up for grabs for the 2 o'clock shift.
Okay, and so for this year, you guys are wanting us to pull the signs after the 12's over, and then they'll just be reissued back at the 2?
Yes. That's how it's supposed to work. Doesn't happen every single time, but that's how it's supposed to work.
This is Karen again. I think we generally never have an issue with this, but I want to reiterate to everybody that there should never be any carnival barking or kind of harassment of the guests to the pavilion, that we're, courteous to everyone, including our competitors that might be set up near us or next to us. Everybody is a Go TEXAN member. Everybody is a valued participant of the program, and we want everybody treated with the utmost professionalism. That's all I had.
Have there really been issues with that?
Not really, no. But just laying it out there.
Interesting.
I have an inventory.
Okay, Lee, yes.
This is Lee with Nourish Market. Just to reiterate from your FAQs, sampling number 8, can I sell my product at the kiosk? Your kiosk is to be utilized, someone stated earlier, as advertising. So you are not selling at the kiosk, and no inventory from the store can go out into your kiosk. So if you are at inventory and you want to pull something from your shelf to use, you will need to buy it through the store so that we have proper inventory, and it is not pulled simply to put on your kiosk or to be shown at your kiosk. Your kiosk is completely independent from the operations, so we appreciate if y'all did not think of the store inventory as kiosk inventory. Yes, thank you.
This is Daryl. While we're on sampling, and for the first time companies that are participating this year, if you're at a sampling kiosk, there will be a sign noting what shelf you're on, so you'll be able to direct the consumer to your product is located in the store, and it'll be visible there on your signage as well.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Yeah, a couple of things. One is we do, I want to reconfirm that we do have the same spot that we did last year. If we requested it this year.
Your shelving spot in the store?
Yes.
Yes. If you had a particular shelf in 2017 and on your jot form you checked the box that said that 2018, and you checked the box that said you want the exact same spot, you were given that same spot. That's correct.
Okay. The second question
I'm sorry, for entire units and end caps only.
Okay, well, that's what we have. That's fine.
Yes, sir.
The other question I have is it has to do with we've had issues in the past with people doing the buy one get one free where they had products that sitting behind them they were handing out. Based on what you're saying, people are not going to be able to do that, correct?
That is correct.
Good. And the final thing I have the question is the taking down the signs between the shifts. Some of us have a lot of things put up. Taking down the signs somewhat becomes a problem. Or that has not necessarily been the rule in the past, so that is what you are going to take them down between shifts this time?
It's something we strive for. Like I try and strive to eat healthy every day. It didn't happen at lunch. It will hopefully happen at dinner. It's something that we strive for, and in theory is the way it should be done. When there's not sampling going on, the signs should all come down. Does it happen every single time? No. Should it? Most likely.
All right, so I'll just plan accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, this is Jan. Could on Harold's first question, I've been on the same shelf for 3 or 4 years.
Can you speak up a little bit, Jan? Sorry, we're having a little difficulty hearing you. Can you speak into your phone maybe a little bit closer?
I I said I've been on the same shelf for 3 or 4 years, but I only have one shelf. Are you telling me that I won't be in the same shelf?
Because we just did.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. It's a possibility that you will not be in the same location because you do not have the entire unit or the end cap. Now, might you end up in the same position based upon the product layout of the store? It's a possibility, but it is not guaranteed.
I think that's the key. It is not guaranteed, but we will try to accommodate requests. But we're just not guaranteeing. Sometimes we have to make different shifts.
Yeah, last year it was an option. This year I noticed that changed.
That is correct.
One thing we are doing differently this year is we do plan on having the store layout set by August. The sampling signs will be printed with your shelf number on them. Last year they were just an additional number affixed to those signs. So you will know where you'll be in the store sooner, if that's of interest to y'all.
Yes, big interest.
Are we allowed to bring one of those, those signs that you pull up from the bottom that stand up? Are we allowed to use those behind us?
No, sir. We only bring what fits on top of the 2x4 kiosk.
We have permanent exhibitors around the pavilion that we don't want to overshadow or anything.
Do you have a picture of the kiosk so we can look and see what would fit or what it looks like?
We can send a picture. Mm-hmm.
If you will send that request to the Texas State Fair email account, we can certainly turn it around to you.
Can I ask, the setup of the kiosks at the beginning of last year, they were set up where basically no one had the ability. I mean, people could just bypass us. We had to go and actually had to go and ask Dan and talk to him about having where they could move back out to where the pillars were, so there's a natural flow of people going in front of us. How are they going to be set up this year?
They will be set up the same way they have been in the past. 2018 was the first time that a different configuration with the kiosks was tried out, and the decision was made to go back to the configuration that we've done in the past. The flow of traffic seems to work better. I can't speak English today. When there are sampling kiosks spread throughout the pavilion. So no matter what entrance you come in on, you will know that sampling's going on. And that creates excitement for the visitor, and it continues folks moving throughout the entire pavilion. And excitement and people eating food is exactly what we want going on in our building. So for those of y'all who weren't with us last year the kiosks were concentrated around the general store, outside of the general store, but they will be placed throughout the entire pavilion this year as we have done in years prior.
Thank you. That's great news.
Thank you for the question.
I have a few questions. Am I on mute or can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, no, fantastic. Listen, and I apologize. I'm totally new to this, so I've got a few questions. And so I'm Chuck Kobish. My son is Charlie of Charlie's Treats, and so we're going to be there for the first time coming up. So we've got a shelf, and one of my questions is on that shelf. And I apologize that I don't know what it might be called, but is there, like when we're doing farmers markets and such, we will have his products in a wooden crate. Can we have something made for that shelf to help keep these products upright? Is there something that we can add to that?
Absolutely. You can have something made. You can bring something that you already have, as long as it fits within the dimensions. The clearance from the bottom shelf to the top shelf is a very hard, set, fast 11 inches. So if it's 11.10, it won't fit. But if you have something that will help better display your product, absolutely, please bring it, as long as it fits within those dimensions of the shelf.
Fantastic. So 11 inches tall, strictly, and then how wide is it? I apologize. I know I've got these dimensions here, but how wide are those shelves?
Let's go back and look at the diagram.
Yeah, well, we can send you the diagram of the Metro shelf that has the exact dimensions of the shelf itself.
Fantastic. Okay, and so we can either bring these little crates that we've got, or we can have something made that might have his logo on it and this, that, and the other, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I've got to break in and ask a question. We've actually had to have the shelf moved up and down the last 5 years. Our Bloody Mary bottles will not fit on that shelf at 11 inches. And your guys have moved the shelf for us every time.
Okay, the situation that you're in, you have an entire end cap. So when you reserve it at either an entire unit or an entire end cap, we will move a shelf or two to accommodate product. When someone has 1 or 2 or even 3 premium shelves and has not reserved the entire unit, we cannot be changing the size of, we can't adjust the sizes. We just don't have the manpower or the time to do it. But on occasion, when someone has rented either an entire unit or an entire end cap, we can adjust 1 shelf, 2 shelves as needed.
You're not affecting the other members who purchased the other shelves on that Metro unit, or on that entire unit. So if you bought your whole Bentley, I know when you buy a whole unit, we can do that, but if you just had 1 shelf in the middle of a whole unit and you had to make it bigger, you're making other people's smaller. So we can't do that.
That makes sense. Thank you. I just need the clarification.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you for that question.
Okay, I have a question. Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, I'm Brenda again with Savannah Rose. I'm new to the situation as well. How many people can you bring to represent tasting? Like, is it a number of employees or people that help you out on the sampling?
Oh, for the sampling, we recommend that you not try and do this alone. It's a lot of work. It's very fast. You need to be talking to a lot of people all at once. We recommend that you have a helper. So at a minimum, 2 people. There's no reason to bring more than, I would say, 3, 4 maximum.
Space doesn't
really allow it.
It doesn't allow for space at the kiosk. However, if you've got 2 people that's managing the kiosk and for some reason you needed someone doing prep work in the kitchen to prepare samples, then that would be okay. But at the kiosk, it's a really limited space. You wouldn't want more than a couple of people there.
Okay. How big is that kiosk?
2 by 4.
Oh, 2 by 4.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
So it's 2 feet deep and then 4 feet wide.
Got you. Okay.
I would also like to add to the gentleman who was asking about the size of the shelf, it does have a small lip on the front, and then there's a piece at the top that comes down to support the shelf above it, so be aware of that.
That's correct.
No, listen, that's fantastic, and that's good information given that it's our first time. Just another couple quick questions, and I'll be done with all my questions. But so on that little lip there and everything, can we have something made that you put on that lip there that says Charlie's Treats or something like that? I mean, just anything to increase that visibility.
That's an excellent question. The lip that's being referred to is the edge of the Metro shelf, and it has a clear plastic strip that goes across the entire front. And that's where the pricing information is for all your products.
Okay.
So for each different product that you have, there will be a different price tag underneath it. So we tend to discourage folks from putting anything on that plastic strip because it does have that pricing information.
Okay, no, excellent. And of course, that is the pricing information and all that. Your guys are going to take care of all that, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Two more quick questions. So his product is small. These are small bags and everything, and we had been thinking about offering like a special, if you buy 3 different flavors or 3 bags, that you might get a little bit of a discount. If we did that, or if we could do that, I guess that's a question. What we would consider doing is putting bags there on that shelf, clear plastic bags on the shelf that has its own barcode sticker on it for that discounted rate. And then can we do that where people can just pick out the 3 bags that they want and they stick it in that one big plastic bag and then take that to the register with its own SKU, and then they just they scan that barcode there. Is that something that we can do?
I'll ask Lee and Candy to answer that question. Or maybe they...
This is Lee Garcia with Nourish, and I'm going to have to decline on that offer, Charles, because sadly with the inventory, we really want to be tight on inventory and make sure that your inventory is as accurate as possible. And when we input your inventory of your products with one price point and then it's sold at a different price point, it's creating a different line item, and then we could have discrepancies in inventory items. So it becomes quite a conundrum if you have inventory at one price point and then there's a discount. So you could have inventory sold individually and then have a baggie of 3 together, and that's a different barcode. But it's already selected, it's already prepackaged, it's already ready to go. That is your sample set, or that is your inventory item B. But allowing guests to create their own type of gift sets would create an inventory madhouse for us.
No, and I can appreciate that. So it's something that we could do. Like we could put together the 3-pack prepackaged, if you will. We could do that, but not have the customers pick it out on their own. Correct?
Correct. And just remember that would take up some of your shelf space because you don't have an empty bag.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So I'm not so sure that we would do that then. Okay. And listen. And my last question, then I will take off. The email that was that has been mentioned several times, I guess, is the Texas State Fair at Texas Department of Agriculture. Is that the best way to reach somebody there? Because I know I'm going to have more questions as we approach, and I just want to know the most efficient way to get a hold of somebody.
Yeah, it's TX State Fair. It's not Texas, just so y'all know. It's TX State Fair at texasagriculture.gov.
Okay. And so I can reach out to that and then maybe even get a phone number and go back and forth?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yes, we've got 3 or 4 sets of eyeballs on that email box.
And once Nourish Market establishes your vendor portal, you will have a vendor portal with your individual account to access your information, see your inventory, see image of your shelf, and that is the best way to communicate with Nourish Market. If you have any questions about the pavilion store operations, not sampling, we're talking about actual sales questions, then the best way to contact Nourish Market is through your portal.
Okay, and when will that be established?
We're looking at August 1st to establish the actual portal, and then by the beginning of September we'll have inventory if everything is received, or once it starts getting received and images and that type of thing.
Fantastic. Listen, I'm signing off, but I sure do appreciate you guys putting this together.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kobdish. We're always looking to expand and having a product that's actually made by a child is definitely something that we encourage. I think you're the only kid-owned, kid-operated company, kid-made store, kid-made product in the store right now. So that's a good differentiation point. So we're very glad that you all are with us.
Oh, well, listen, I appreciate that feedback there, and I just, if you all would say a prayer for me, can you imagine having an 11-year-old boss? It's exhausting.
We all have our crosses to bear, sir.
Oh, I tell you what, this is a big one, but no, I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
I noticed that you mentioned that we would only be able to see our inventory. So we're not going to be able to see everyone else's sales as well like before? That's kind of a joke.
So disappointing.
It was interesting to know it, though.
There you go. Savor the moment.
Right.
Oh, and also I want to thank you for remitting payment back to us within 7 days as opposed to 30. That's very gracious. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Well, that's our goal.
Yes, we're very excited to have Nourish Market on, and there have already been some big improvements over last year, so we're just looking forward to bigger and better this year.
If y'all have been reading the monthly newsletter that goes out, y'all should have already seen some of this. But by being in the store, there are some additional benefits that y'all will get to enjoy. We are putting out a dedicated e-zine that will go out to 20,000 plus email addresses that will be all about our Go Texan Pavilion. It'll highlight our exhibitors, our sponsors, and also the Go Texan store and everything in it. So you will be listed in that issue. We will be developing that. Well, we've already started.
Yeah, you'll be, so store participants will be listed with links to your website, which is why we asked for websites or Facebook pages in the application this year, because that's where that information will be stored. They'll be able to hover over your name and link directly to your private page. The sampling schedules will be listed, so if someone's looking to come sample your product, they'll be able to see which days you'll be there. Stage events, it'll be an entire e-zine. If you've seen our other shrimp e-zine, just went out in June, and then there was an April edition. It was based on like gardening and specialty crops. So if you've been seeing those, we'll have that dedicated just to State Fair. On September 1st is when it'll go out.
Another
That's
benefit.
great. I had a real
Oh, yes.
sorry. I had a real quick question. I had to run, but I just want to get this in. You guys are going to be emailing that timeline schedule out, correct?
Yes, sir.
After this, and then also, do you guys have some type of Instagram that we can tag, like the State Fair Pavilion? Can you put that in that email if you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can include that. So everything for the Go Texan Pavilion, whether it's the store or stage events or whatever we have going on, will be through the Go Texan Facebook and Instagram page, and this is just in general. Whether you're at the state fair or not, always tag us in what you're doing, so that we can better showcase you on our social media pages.
Got it. And I know, back to the shelves real quick, I know on the sides of the shelves, don't they have metal rails for the support?
Yes.
Would we be able to attach some type of shelf tag to those?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And then one of the last new additions of benefits this year that Karen was talking about is going to be a pavilion map. So we'll have an 8x14 piece of paper back color map that'll fold into a quad fold. And they'll be on stands at each of the entrances. And when you open it, the first page will again list all the companies again. So it'll be a take home that people will have with them when they leave. And then when you open it to the full 8.5x14, it'll show a whole layout of the actual pavilion with the general store and the different kiosks and the exhibitors. So that's another piece where your name brand will be going home with all the fairgoers.
I do have another question, if I may.
Of course.
concerning I know we touched on it a little bit. I just wanted to make sure. So let's say I have 4 different products. This will be the first time that we've ever done any kind of retail sales. We've always done shows, and market shows. So, of course, I have no UPC labeling of any kind. That's going to be provided to us by Nourish, correct?
Yes, that's what we're working on.
Okay.
Could I ask you how many products you have? 4. Okay.
Well, we sell 4 products, but I mean, I'm hoping to sell thousands of each one. So.
Correct.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Nourish will be sending out instructions.
I didn't understand.
What was that, sir?
Is there a charge to us for that?
Yeah, we're developing that now. We're investigating what it would take to create the barcodes. So, just give us a week and we'll have a response for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
And then we have quite a few staff with us throughout the summer, interns helping us get everything ready for fair. You may have seen an email recently from one of them, maybe Sarah Erickson. If you want to check through your email for that. We are requesting a logo or an ad if you'd like to send that to her. She's collecting those. Those will play in the general store on a video loop. For everyone that's in the store. That's another extra benefit that you can have showing for 3 or 4 seconds in a repetitive loop with everyone that gets that information back to us. So again, if you want to look through your emails, Sarah Erickson has been contacting everyone.
And I believe there's a deadline, so don't miss it.
I have not seen the deadline on that, but I will tell you that our audio-visual people who do this told us that what y'all requested will not work on a video screen. You have to adjust things for video other than just a whatever size that y'all were requesting.
It's worked for us in the past. Our communications team here has done a good job. The due date's the end of this month, July 31st, because he needs to start working on that. But thank you.
If there are any issues with any of the images that we receive, we'll definitely reach back out to those companies.
And for everyone who's been with us before and for the new folks, we highly, highly encourage you to promote that you're going to be at the State Fair at the Go Texan Pavilion to absolutely anyone and everyone that you know. Depending upon the size of the town or city that you're from, oftentimes the local paper will pick up that you're going to the State Fair, and they'll do a nice little piece on, your story and how you started producing your product and everything. A lot of folks have had response from social media. So anything that you can do to promote that you are at the State Fair is only going to be to your benefit. So we highly encourage everybody to take advantage of you are at the State Fair of Texas. It is the biggest state fair in the United States, and it's the longest running state fair there is. So it's a little bit of a big deal.
You got to put it in the local paper.
Well, this is Texas.
Right. Well, we do everything better here, and the State Fair definitely is one of the things that we do better. So another opportunity that comes through that TDA has no control over is that our store is shopped, and I'm using quotes on that, shopped by buyers from various grocery chains. Thanks to being in the State Fair, one of our vendors picked up an account with Southwest Airlines, believe it or not. Quite a few folks have been picked up by HEB, Central Market. I kind of equate it to the golden ticket that was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that movie. If you're as old as I am, you remember that book. So you just never know who's coming through the state fair looking for the latest and the greatest. So we always keep that in mind and try and promote the heck out of who we have in the store, what we're doing, and at the end of the day, when you succeed, we succeed. So.
Oh, and in case you all haven't heard it, lady, thank you so much for doing all of this. It's really appreciated.
Shucks.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That was very kind of you. So,
yeah, I would like to. I would also like to add. I've worked in Midway for 11 years, having my own games out on the Midway, and y'all are much more organized and professional than it was on that end. This is my first year with Go Texan store, but y'all are much more organized than the Midway was.
Well, we hope we can maintain that.
And thank you for that compliment. And along those lines, as going through this process, if you all have suggestions about things we can do better or differently or more creatively, or you have an idea, please let us know. We obviously can't do everything, but definitely try and make improvements and efficiencies every single year that we put this together.
Is there any? This is to Norris, I guess, the store. Can we come in there and like front our products and rotate inventory? I mean, are we allowed to do that?
This is, in terms of rotate inventory, you're pretty set at where your inventory is located. In terms of expiration dates, or the store isn't long enough to really have to rotate inventory.
No, I'm sorry. When I said rotate, is we sell homemade brittle that is literally as thin as a potato chip. Brittle. So if that bag falls off the shelf and hits the floor, it's going to be nothing but dust, crumbs.
Yeah, what?
Which is not going to be appealing to somebody looking at it. So are we going to be able to get with the store and say, okay, I'm taking these 10 bags out, but I'm going to bring you 10 more, or is that possible?
I would say make an appointment. We will have availability by appointments to either restock or to drop off merchandise. So there will be time frames within the vendor portal to make an appointment to come in. We cannot accommodate or visit with the vendors during peak times and during operation hours.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely understand.
So we invite you to communicate and feel like your product is on a case-to-case basis needed, or you'd like to see an extra image, like a picture of your shelf, definitely communicate with us and we will try to do the best. It'll take us about a 24-hour turnaround to get back to you, but we want to make sure that you're represented in your best light.
So are we going to be required to make appointments every morning to bring when we need to bring product in?
Not for sampling.
No. I mean, as we go through inventory on our shelves, we're going to be there every day. So and we live close by, so we can keep up with our inventory, know what's there. And probably 4 or 5 times during the fair, we'll need to bring in product. In the past, all we had to do is come in the morning before it opened and turn in a sheet. Are we going to have to make an appointment?
Well, someone has to receive your sheet, so we have to make sure that someone's available to receive product from you. So the best bet is to let us know you're coming so that someone's available to work with you. If you feel like it's going smoothly and it's an easy process, then it's not required. But at the beginning, we're trying to make sure that we can attend to each. TDA officials or reps will not be able to sign product, so you'll need to visit with someone from Nourish Market, one of the staff, to officially receive product into the inventory. It's a quick process. It doesn't take long. We just like to be able to treat you right. So if we know you're coming, we'll watch out for you.
I have a quick question kind of regarding the same thing. If we don't live nearby, I live 8 hours away from Dallas, would we be able to ship inventory in? Like, I guess on this vendor portal, we're going to be able to keep up with what's being sold, so I can kind of keep an eye on my inventory, and if I see that we're moving through something, can I UPS more into the store the same way that I set it up initially, I guess?
Yes, that's a good question. We will be communicating with folks. We'll have a safety stock number if we see that you're reaching that to let you know to restock and resend in. Every time you send in product or you're sending a shipment to us, we would like the tracking number. We would like that shipping confirmation to come our way so that we can be looking out for product. We've learned that the State Fair is a very large property, and easily UPS can decide to drop your boxes off at the maintenance building instead of the TEXAN pavilion. So we want to know that something's coming and that it's going to make it to the store on a timely manner. So the vendor portal would be the best way to communicate.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Are there plans for a preview night that was like more exclusive, such as in the past? And if so, has that date been determined yet?
Yes, sir. The date is always the day before fair opens, so that this year it's September 26th. It'll be 5:30 to 8 again. August 1st, a save the date will go out. We are working on inviting participants to sample there. I have not started doing that yet, and I will not start until a week or so from now. I will leave for vacation tomorrow, so but there's still plenty of time. So if you hear from me, Lindsay Bearwalt, we'll be doing a call for folks who did not participate last year. We also are celebrating our 20-year members during that event at Preview. It's our 20th year of Go Texan. So we're going to give them the first right to sample their products as an honor for their continued membership and participation in the program. And once we get done there, we will move on to the rest of the folks in the general store that didn't participate last year. So you'll be hearing from me soon.
Thank you.
And Lindsay, for the folks who are new, can you briefly explain what Preview is?
Sure. So Preview Night is a party. It's the opening. The general store is open for business. It's a preview of what the pavilion and the general store are going to look like the next morning and for the 24 days of fair. We have about 30 Go Texan members sampling their product, and then the store is open for purchase. We invite media. We invite all of our retail buyers contacts that we have. We invite legislative officials, city members from Dallas and Fort Worth at close proximity.
Metroplex.
The Commissioner Miller comes in attendance, and this year it's a little bit different. We'll be presenting our 20-year members with their 20-year awards, so that'll be a slightly different. But it's a great time to come out and meet your fellow members and sample their products and get a sneak peek of the pavilion and the general store.
Does anyone else on the call have a question? Anything related to the store or the pavilion?
I know it had been mentioned that y'all, I know you're so sad you won't be able to see everyone else's sales in the portal. You'll only be seeing your own sales, and just so you know, it will have not a 24-hour delay, but when you log in the morning, you'll see the most up-to-date sales from the previous day. So it won't be real time. You don't log in every hour. It won't update from what you saw that morning at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. So it will be it'll close at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock when the store ends. They'll reconcile everything a few hours later. By midnight that night, it will be set. So you can log in the next morning and see what your total sales are.
But basically it's updated once a day.
Yes.
So don't look at it, every hour and go, why isn't my stuff not selling? It's just not updated. So just be aware of that.
Hello.
I have another question before we leave.
I don't have hello?
Well,
Hello?
oh,
Sorry,
go
there's
ahead.
two of y'all
I'm
trying
sorry.
at the same
I'm
time.
sorry. No, I don't have a question. I just want to say thank y'all for doing this. We are new this year, and this has been very, very helpful and very beneficial for our information. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I know somebody else had a question.
Yeah, it was Brenda with Savannah Rose. I wanted to know, I don't know if anybody asked about ice, but will I be available some ice if I needed it to buy some ice? Or, because my sampling require ice.
There is a vendor on the fairgrounds. Availability, I'm not sure if you can catch them because they're delivering to the concessionaires. But there is a vendor, but I would recommend bringing a bag of ice with you. And the ice they sell is in a bulk bag, so it's a huge bag, probably more ice than what you would need.
Okay.
And it's at state fair pricing,
thank you.
so it's not cheap.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And speaking of state fair pricing, you as the vendor, you determine the prices on your products. We do not. So that's completely your decision.
Oh. Okay. So
When
do we
and how?
need to let you know?
Yeah. When and how do we decide that?
Before you ship.
We've been discussing, this is Nourish Market, and we've been discussing allowing a change. So if you decide to price your pieces and then have a change of heart and need an update, we're going to attempt to have that on the portal where you can request a price change. There will be a deadline for any changes, and they will not be effective immediately. It'll take 24 hours to update the POS system and to work out for them to be in the register. But I would say you would need to decide on your pricing before the fair starts.
Okay.
And for those of you who have been with us in the past, and we have never allowed price changes during fair. That has not been done. So something new that Nourish Market is offering is, let's say you have a particular flavor or size that is not moving, and you notice that it's not moving and you want to try to encourage sales, they are offering you the opportunity to put it on sale, if you will, to change the price to try and move that product one time.
Do you have pictures of the shelf tags? Is that something we need to provide, or is that something Nourish provides? And do those include the price?
We do have pictures. If you wouldn't mind emailing your request for that to the TX State Fair at texasagriculture.gov, I'd be happy to send you a picture. The price tag, it's kind of like a yellow sunburst with the Go Texan mark, and it says the name of the product and the price. So Nourish Market prints all those out, and they provide the price labels for each shelf.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Uh-huh.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, it's India with Whiskey Design. So if we have our own display, will the price tags be provided by Nourish as well, or do we bring our own?
The price tags will be provided by Nourish, and on a display that's your own, they will be laminated as opposed to being on the Metro shelf behind the plastic, so that they'll look nice and pretty through the entire 24 days.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I just had to say one more thing. Go Texan!
Yay! All right. Okay, well, we're coming up on 4:18. The call is scheduled to end at 4:30, but it sounds like we're winding down. Does anyone else on the call, last call for questions? No?
All right.
Okay, well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, this is the first time that we've done this Skype call. Very excited about everyone who's joining us again for the adventure. And for everybody who's new to the Go Texan Pavilion, welcome. And we will see you soon.